Hello, fellow psychology students. I am excited for this video today. Today we're going to be discussing the topic of health and stress. Really, when it comes to stress, there's, it could be split between two categories. It could be a positive stressor or a negative stressor. The negative stress is called distress. This is coming from, an unpleasant and undesirable stressor. These are things like, you spill your coffee on your shirt on the way to work.
Come on!
Or, you're waking up in the morning and you're about to go brush your teeth and you stub your toe. This is a negative stress. Hand in hand, there are positive stressors.
They got popcorn.
These are called eustress.
Yay! Nice job!
Positive stress could be something that you use for, to become motivated. These are things like rewards, right? Like some sort of reward system.
Seems like a basic reward system where you give us points and then we redeem those points for prizes.
You're exactly right, and you get a point.
Oh.
Meeting a monthly quota could be something that stresses you in a positive way. So three bigger categories that I want to touch on. One being catastrophes. That is our first set of stressors. So, a catastrophe is any sudden stress that comes out of nowhere. Something that usually affects many, many people. Good examples of this are natural disaster like hurricane. That was a 9/11. Definitely the recent fires, here that have been happening in LA County or a little bit north of Orange County. Depending on the person, I guess you could have an opinion on what would be considered a catastrophe, right?
Why would you cancel my Xbox Live?
It's not something like getting your Xbox Live cut. That's not a catastrophe. The next set of stressors are called personal stressors. Now, there's a positive personal stress.
Aww, huggy.
And then there's negative personal stress.
Then who gonna pay these bills, Justin? Who gonna pay these bills?
Personal stressors are just major life events that cause immediate consequences that could probably stress somebody out.
You're all fired. All four are fired.
By no means are these permanent, but they are something that cause immediate emotional reaction.
This place sucks. Let me tell you something, kid. Working sucks.
There are some positive stressors, like someone, life-changing events that are for the positive, having a baby. Maybe even getting married, right? Though somebody might see that as a negative stressor, right?
I will love you and honor you.
But there are positive personal stressors.
Wait for the moment I can say I met.
The next category of stressors are called hassles. Now, these are what I call the everyday stressor. These are things that, happen on a daily basis that are like little nuances.
You know how I feel. Why would you say that? Like, you put me in such an uncomfortable situation. Like, I'm not happy. I'm trying to see if it'll work out here, and I know
that are more than anything, they're annoying.
If there's one thing I hate, it's nothing more than traffic.
They are a bit of things that are nuisances, but though they are small things that cause stress, too much can compound to something that can later on cause some sort of long-term ill health effects.
Okay, that is it! You guys have officially made me lose my marbles!
Two big examples of those stress disorders, one being acute stress disorder. Another form is I think the most common, is called post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. This stress disorder is often found with veterans. I have the privilege to be able to work with somebody who spent 20 years in the Navy and was retired. I wanted to go ahead and share a little bit of our interview that we had, discussing things regarding post-traumatic stress disorder.
I was in the United States Navy,
I got in '76. My job was sub-search and destroy.
So I know you do a little bit of work with the, or not a little bit, but a lot of the work with the American Legion, and I'm curious to know about your experiences with, other colleagues that possibly have suffered from PTSD.
I am with the American Legion and Sons of the American Legion and a couple other aspects. I'm the post commander in Los Alamitos. I'm also what they call 40 and 8, which is an honor society of the American Legion. And other than being a post commander, I'm a squadron commander at another post. I'm a state commander. Probably half a dozen guys that have the PTSD. I also have a couple good friends that have it. What we try to do is actually provide help for them. I'm really active in a couple programs. One is War Dogs. What they are is they're programs that train dogs to help soldiers that have PTSD. One of my good friends has PTSD, and he has a dog almost big as me. Yeah, but they're trained in certain instances. A lot of times, people with PTSD, the dogs are trained to recognize the stressors.
Okay.
A good for instance is in a conversation. If you had PTSD and I got too close to you, the dog would put itself in between me and that person.
Okay.
Because sometimes it's not the conversation, it's the proximity into, you're invading my space.
Right.
Okay.
And that might be a trigger of some sort.
And a lot of times that is. There's half a dozen different stressors, that cause a reaction, or it doesn't have to be violent or whatever. It's just quite simply, like I said, it's a stressor, and you might have an episode where just a lot of times the guys withdraw within themselves. Some have external, episodes where it's more prevalent. You can see it more. But at the American Legion, what we do more than anything is try to find the resources.
There are many different ways that people can learn to cope with stress. Personally, I practice Buddhism, so my favorite form of coping with stress is meditation.
And release all of those sounds that are trapped in your mind.
Studies have been conducted to prove that meditation indeed is an effective way to reduce stress.
My poop is coming!
The National Institute of Health actually funded a study to quantify if mindfulness, can relieve stress. The clinical trial studied patients with anxiety disorder. This was an 8-week stress management course. At the end of the study, those with training, they felt less stressful after the meditation sessions. They actually had blood-based markers to measure the stress response of those subjects, and they actually did confirm stress reduction. Those without the training actually showed, saw these blood-based markers rise. We can all definitely benefit from mindful meditation this finals week, definitely 1 week before the semester is over. So I invite everybody to take a 2-minute meditation break after this video before you respond, and let me know what you think. I wish everybody the best of luck in the final week of the semester, and thanks for watching.